First contact. The observatory deck of Helios Station was the only place where Lyra Bennett found true peace. Suspended 20,000 kilometers above an unnamed gas giant in the Theta Proxima system, the deck offered an unobstructed view of swirling violet storms and the golden rings that encircled the planet like cosmic jewelry. Lyra stood by the viewport, data pad forgotten in her hand as she watched another ion storm build in the planet's upper atmosphere. As the station's lead xenolinguist, she should have been reviewing the latest transmission patterns from the neighboring star system, but after 16 hours of analyzing alien communication bursts, even the most dedicated linguistic specialist needed a break. Enjoying the view again, Dr. Bennett? The station's AI, Nova, materialized beside her as a translucent blue hologram wearing what appeared to be an approximation of a lab coat. Is it that obvious? Lyra smiled, tucking a strand of auburn hair behind her ear. You've spent approximately 37% more time here than any other crew member, Nova reported with clinical precision. Director Harlow has requested your presence in the communication hub. It seems we've received something unusual. Lyra straightened immediately. Define unusual. A direct transmission. Aimed specifically at Helios. In a language that matches none in our database. The communication hub was already buzzing with activity when Lyra arrived. Director Harlow, a stern woman with silver hair cut in a practical bob, motioned her over to the main console. About time, Harlow said, though there was no real reproach in her voice. We've got a situation. An unidentified vessel just dropped out of FTL at the edge of our sensor range. They're broadcasting this on all frequencies. The main screen flickered to life, displaying a series of complex patterns, part mathematical sequence, part musical notation, with swirling glyphs that seemed to change shape even as Lyra watched. It's beautiful, she whispered, eyes already tracing patterns, mind cataloging similarities with other known linguistic structures. It's encrypted, Harlow countered. No, Lyra shook her head. It's not encryption. It's expression. The patterns themselves are the language. She stepped closer to the screen. Nova, can you isolate the repeating sequences? Processing, the AI replied. Moments later, subsets of the pattern were highlighted on the display. Lyra worked quickly, fingers dancing across the interface. It's a greeting. And. She paused, brow furrowing, I think it's an arrival announcement. Formal. Ceremonial. Meaning. Harlow pressed. Someone important is coming. And they expect us to know who they are. Before Harlow could respond, Nova's avatar flickered. Director, the vessel is approaching. Current trajectory will bring it alongside the station in approximately 23 minutes. Defense systems? Harlow asked. Operational, but I would advise caution, Nova replied. The vessel's energy signature suggests capabilities far beyond our own. Lyra hardly heard them. She was already deep in the translation matrix, working through the alien syntax. There's something else here, she muttered. A request, no, more like an expectation. They're requesting docking access. Harlow's eyebrows shot up. Absolutely not. Director, Lyra turned, excitement overriding protocol, this could be the first direct contact with an advanced civilization. We've spent years studying transmissions from afar, but this is what we're here for. A debate erupted among the senior staff, voices rising as security concerns clashed with scientific opportunity. Lyra stood apart, still working through the message, when a new pattern emerged on the screen, simpler, more direct. They've changed their transmission, she announced, cutting through the argument. It's a response to our chatter. They can hear us. The room fell silent. What are they saying? Harlow asked finally. Lyra swallowed. They say they come in peace. And they're curious about us. She looked up. I think we should let them dock. After tense deliberation, Harlow reluctantly agreed to allow a single representative from the alien vessel to board the station, under heavy security protocols. Lyra was assigned as the primary contact, both for her linguistic skills and because the visitors had specifically mentioned communication expertise in their transmission. The docking bay was sealed off, atmosphere carefully regulated to match the specifications transmitted by the alien vessel. Lyra stood beside Director Harlow, surrounded by a security team attempting to look both welcoming and prepared for anything. "Remember," Harlow murmured, "first contact protocol. No sudden movements, no assumptions, and for God's sake, don't make promises on behalf of humanity." "I've read the manual," Lyra replied, straightening her uniform jacket. The airlock cycled open with a soft hiss, and all eyes turned toward the entrance. The being that stepped through was tall, nearly 7 feet, with a slender frame that moved with unsettling grace. Its skin shimmered with an iridescent quality, shifting between deep blues and purples like the gas giant below. Most striking were its eyes, large, pupilless orbs that glowed with an inner light, ringed by what appeared to be delicate crystalline structures instead of lashes. It wore what Lyra assumed was formal attire, flowing garments that seemed woven from light itself, catching and reflecting the station's illumination in hypnotic patterns. A series of intricate markings adorned its elongated neck, possibly denoting rank or lineage. The silence in the docking bay stretched to uncomfortable lengths before Lyra stepped forward, hand raised in what she hoped was a universal gesture of greeting. "Welcome to Helio Station," she said clearly. "I am Dar. Lyra Bennett, xenolinguistic specialist." The being tilted its head, studying her with those luminous eyes. Then, to everyone's shock, it spoke in perfect English. "I am Zephyr, royal emissary of the Nyx hegemony." Its voice was melodic, each word carrying harmonic undertones that seemed to resonate in the air. "We have been observing your outpost for some time. Your transmissions interested us." Lyra blinked in surprise. "You speak our language." "We learn quickly," Zephyr replied, a subtle shift in its facial structure suggesting what might have been amusement. "And you have been broadcasting your languages into space for centuries." "Rather carelessly, I might add." Director Harlow stepped forward. "What is the purpose of your visit, Emissary Zephyr?" The alien's gaze remained fixed on Lyra. "Cultural exchange. Diplomatic relations. And..." It paused, those luminous eyes seeming to intensify curiosity. "You are the first species we have encountered that creates art without purpose, that speaks for the joy of speaking, that dreams beyond necessity. This is unusual." Before anyone could respond, the station shuddered violently. Emergency lights flashed as Nova's voice came over the comm system, "Alert. Severe ion storm approaching. Unexpected intensity. Station shields at 60% and falling." Another tremor, stronger this time, sending several security officers stumbling. "The storm shouldn't be this powerful," Harlow said, already moving toward a console. "Nova, status report." "The storm appears to be drawn to the alien vessel's energy signature," the AI reported. "Creating a cascading resonance effect. Shield failure imminent." Zephyr moved with startling speed, approaching Lyra even as the security team raised their weapons. "Your station cannot withstand this. I can help, but I require connection." "Connection?" Lyra asked, struggling to maintain her balance as another tremor shook the station. "A temporary bond. Mind to mind. I can channel the energy, but I need an anchor to your technology." The alien extended a slender hand, the skin now pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. "Trust is required." Harlow's voice cut through the chaos, "Bennett, don't you dare." But Lyra already saw the calculations in her head. Shield failure meant station destruction. Hundreds of lives lost. And something in those alien eyes spoke of sincerity. She reached out, her human hand meeting Zephyr's alien one. The connection was immediate and overwhelming, a rush of sensations, images, emotions too complex to name. Lyra gasped as foreign thoughts flooded her consciousness, glimpses of worlds she'd never imagined, concepts without human names. Through their joined hands, energy flowed, from Zephyr, through Lyra, into the station systems. The tremors subsided gradually as the shield stabilized. When Lyra finally managed to focus her vision again, she found Zephyr watching her with an expression she couldn't decipher. "You showed me warmth, human," the alien said softly, their hands still joined. "Such trust is unexpected. Among my people, to share consciousness is to form a bond that cannot be broken." A pause, those luminous eyes studying her face. "Now, by the ancient laws of the Nyx hegemony, I belong to you as you belong to me." And as alarms continued to sound around them, Lyra Bennett realized that first contact had just become considerably more complicated. Cultural misunderstandings. The aftermath of the emergency on Helios Station left the crew in a state of controlled chaos. Medical teams rushed to treat minor injuries, engineers assessed system damage, and security maintained a wary perimeter around Lyra and the alien visitor who had, apparently, just formed some kind of mystical bond with her. Director Harlow had immediately ordered them to the station's conference room, away from curious eyes. Now she paced the length of the polished table, her reflection distorted in its surface. "Let me understand this," Harlow said, her voice carefully measured. "You two touched hands, saved the station, and now you're, what exactly? Married?" Zephyr, seated with perfect posture that somehow managed to make the standard station chair look like a throne, tilted their head. "Your concept of marriage is an insufficient approximation. The Nyx bond is a neural and spiritual connection transcending mere social contract. It's more like..." Lyra searched for words to describe the lingering presence she felt at the edges of her consciousness, having someone else's memories filed alongside your own. "I can feel emotions that aren't mine." "Precisely," Zephyr nodded. "The bond forms when minds synchronize during moments of intense exchange. It is rare, even among my kind, and considered sacred. That it occurred between species is unprecedented." Harlow stopped pacing to fix them both with a stern look. "And you didn't think to mention this possibility before making contact?" "The probability was negligible," Zephyr replied, those luminous eyes shifting to a deeper hue. "Humans have a reputation for being emotionally guarded. We did not anticipate Dr. Bennett's exceptional empathic capacity." Lyra felt a flush of what might have been pride, or possibly embarrassment, before realizing the emotion wasn't entirely her own. The bond seemed to be strengthening, emotions bleeding across whatever psychic membrane separated them. "Can it be reversed?" Harlow asked bluntly. Zephyr went utterly still, in the way that reminded everyone in the room that despite their humanoid appearance, they were profoundly alien. "The question is offensive," they finally said, "but understandable given your ignorance. No. The Nyx bond is permanent." The word permanent hung in the air like a physical thing. "I need to make some calls," Harlow said after a lengthy silence. "The Interstellar Diplomatic Corps needs to be informed immediately. You two," she pointed at Lyra and Zephyr, "don't leave this room. And don't bond any further." After Harlow left, Lyra found herself alone with the alien who was now, apparently, her permanent neural roommate. The silence stretched uncomfortably until she finally broke it. "So," she said, "I guess we should get to know each other better." Zephyr's facial structure shifted in what Lyra was beginning to recognize as their version of a smile. "I know you already, Lyra Bennett. Your courage, your curiosity, your capacity for wonder. The bond reveals essence." "That's hardly fair," Lyra countered. "I only get fragments from you, like seeing through frosted glass. Why can't I read you as clearly? The bond is new. Developing. And my species has evolved to shield our thoughts, a necessary adaptation for a telepathic race." Zephyr's voice softened. "But I can teach you to navigate the connection." Before Lyra could respond, the door slid open to admit Nova's holographic form. "Dar. Bennett," the AI said, "Director Harlow requests your immediate presence in her office." "Alone," Nova added, glancing at Zephyr. The human concept of privacy is quaint, Zephyr commented, considering we now share consciousness. Yeah, we're definitely going to need to establish some boundaries, Lyra muttered, rising from her seat. Stay here. Please. Zephyr inclined their head in what might have been agreement or simply acknowledgement. Lyra couldn't tell, and the feelings coming through their bond were too complex to interpret. Harlow's office was austere, reflecting her military background. The only personal touch was a small terrarium containing a miniature Earth garden, a luxury in deep space. The director stood staring at it when Lyra entered. The IDC is sending a diplomatic team, Harlow said without preamble. They'll arrive in 3 days. Until then, you've been relieved of your duties. What? But my research is compromised, Harlow cut in, turning to face her. You're literally bonded to an alien royal. Your objectivity is suspect, your loyalties potentially divided, and frankly, Bennett, you're now a security risk. The accusation stung. I've dedicated my life to the agency, to understanding alien communication. This bond could provide unprecedented insights. Or it could be exactly what they wanted, Harlow countered. An infiltration method. Access to our systems, our knowledge, through someone with high-level clearance. Lyra felt a flare of indignation that wasn't entirely her own. The bond was amplifying her emotions, or perhaps Zephyr was reacting to Harlow's accusations from across the station. If they wanted to infiltrate us, they could have destroyed the station during the ion storm and salvaged the technology, Lyra argued. Zephyr saved us. Perhaps they need you alive. Have you considered that? Harlow's expression softened slightly. Look, I'm not saying your alien is malevolent. I'm saying we don't know their true intentions, and until we do, protocol dictates caution. A sudden realization hit Lyra. You're quarantining me. It's standard procedure for unknown extraterrestrial exposure. You'll have restricted access to station facilities. Your quarters have been moved to the diplomatic wing. And you'll undergo daily medical assessments. And Zephyr will be treated as an honored diplomatic guest, with appropriate security measures. Harlow handed her a data pad. These are your new access codes. The diplomatic wing has everything you need, better accommodations than standard crew quarters, actually. A gilded cage is still a cage, Lyra said quietly. Harlow sighed. 3 days, Bennett. Then the diplomatic team arrives and this becomes someone else's problem. When Lyra returned to the conference room, she found Zephyr engaged in what appeared to be animated conversation with Nova. The AI's hologram displayed clear signs of fascination, its programmed body language mimicking human excitement. Ah, Dr. Bennett, Nova greeted her. Emissary Zephyr has been explaining the mathematical principles behind Nick's temporal perception. It's quite revolutionary. Making friends? Lyra asked Zephyr, surprised by the twinge of something almost like jealousy she felt. Knowledge exchange is the foundation of diplomacy, Zephyr replied smoothly. Your artificial intelligence is impressively sophisticated, though curiously limited in emotional processing. Nova's hologram straightened indignantly. I have 14 emotional subroutines. Precisely my point, Zephyr said. Then, turning to Lyra, your superior was hostile. You are distressed. It wasn't a question. Lyra sighed. I've been temporarily relieved of duty. We're both being moved to the diplomatic wing until the IDC arrives. Isolation, Zephyr observed. A predictable response to the unknown. Among the Nicks, bonded pairs are celebrated, given time to strengthen their connection in special sanctuaries. Well, humans tend to panic first and celebrate later, Lyra said dryly. Come on, let's see our new quarters. The diplomatic wing of Helio Station was designed to accommodate various physiologies and environmental needs. The suite assigned to them featured adjustable gravity, atmosphere controls, and a kind of luxury rarely seen on a research station, actual windows overlooking the gas giant below, furniture made from real materials instead of printed polymers, and a food synthesis unit programmed with dishes from a dozen worlds. Lyra stood at the viewport, watching the swirls of violet and gold in the planet's atmosphere. She could feel Zephyr's presence behind her, a constant awareness that was becoming strangely comfortable. In the Nyx hegemony, Zephyr said softly, a newly bonded pair would undergo the ritual of unveiling, a ceremonial sharing of memories and truths. Lyra turned to face them. Is that what you want? More bonding? Because I'm still processing the fact that I accidentally married an alien royal. You did not marry me, Zephyr corrected. You bound your consciousness to mine. It is both more significant and more intimate than your human concept of marriage. Not helping, Lyra sighed. Then, curiosity getting the better of her, what exactly does a royal emissary do? Are you like a diplomat? Zephyr moved to stand beside her at the viewport, their iridescent skin reflecting the planet's glow. I am 16th in succession to the hegemony throne. My role is to seek knowledge, forge connections, and evaluate potential allies, or threats. And which are we? Allies or threats? That remains to be determined, Zephyr replied. Though the bond suggests potential beyond either category. A comfortable silence fell between them as they watched the distant storms. Lyra found herself hyper-aware of Zephyr's presence, not just physically, but mentally. Emotions that weren't hers drifted through her consciousness, curiosity, caution, and something warmer that defied easy categorization. You should rest, Zephyr said eventually. Human physiology requires regular unconsciousness, and the bonding process taxes neural pathways. Do you sleep? Lyra asked. The Nyx enter restorative trance states, though less frequently than humans require sleep. I will meditate while you rest. Lyra nodded, suddenly aware of her exhaustion. As she turned toward the sleeping chamber, Zephyr spoke again. Lyra Bennett. There is something you should know. Their voice had taken on a formal quality. Our bond has implications beyond the personal. In the eyes of the Nyx hegemony, you now hold diplomatic status equal to my own. When the news reaches my homeworld, it will cause significant political reverberations. Lyra froze. What kind of reverberations? Some will view it as an auspicious sign. Others as a dilution of royal lineage. Either way, Zephyr's eyes seem to glow more intensely. When your diplomatic corps arrives, they will not be dealing merely with first contact protocols, but with an established bond that, by Nyx law, places you under our protection. And you didn't think to mention this earlier? Lyra asked, echoing Harlow's earlier accusation. Would it have changed your decision in that moment of crisis? Zephyr countered. Lyra considered this, then shook her head. No. I still would have done it to save the station. Then the information was not relevant until now, Zephyr said simply. Rest, Lyra Bennett. Tomorrow, we begin learning to navigate our shared existence. As Lyra settled onto the surprisingly comfortable bed, she couldn't help but wonder what else Zephyr hadn't told her, and what other surprises awaited when the diplomatic team arrived. One thing was certain, her life would never be the same. The bond pulsed gently in her mind, a constant reminder that somewhere in the unfathomable expanse of the universe, an alien royal now considered themselves bound to her for eternity. And the strangest part was how quickly she was growing used to the idea.